Hello, and welcome to Audio Heads. We're part of Geeks Assembled, and we're actually the same people who do Geeks Assembled. So it's just like the same thing. It's just that I get to host this one thing. And today we're discussing No Man's Land, a Picard season between season 1 and season 2. Right in between there. It's by Simon and Schuster, who are the publishing arm of CBS. So yeah, it's pretty well tied together, and it's Raffi and 709, and so with me is Lee Wilson, and you should probably do your opening thoughts. What do you say to that?
Yeah, okay. It's nice to see that they've got the actors to play Seven of Nine and Raffi from the TV series on this audio. It was a long slog for me, this one.
It
was. I don't know why they called it Picard, because he wasn't in it.
Okay.
They should have just called it Star Trek, No Man's Land.
Well, these are characters from within the season of and the timeline of Star Trek Picard.
Yes, but if anybody came to this expecting to hear a drama with Picard,
okay,
because it's advertised Picard, so I think that's misleading.
Okay.
I can't knock Jerry Ryan and Michelle Hurd, is it?
Yep.
I can't knock them, because they've been awesome in the series, and they were brilliant in this. But what they was given to work with, it must have been hard, because there was no plot for me personally. It was nearly all talk, and not enough action for me personally. It was 1 hour 40 minutes.
Yeah.
No break. It was just a continuous drama. And this is 1 hour 40 minutes is longer than a normal episode of Picard anyway.
Right. It's usually like
50 minutes.
42 to 45 minutes.
Yeah. It just, I don't know. It felt too long, too drawn out. I mean, some of the characters in there was quite wooden. Not the two main characters, because I think they're brilliant characters. But I don't know, the story just didn't do it for me. I think I was expecting more.
Okay.
And it didn't deliver.
Okay.
Me personally.
Okay.
Back to you.
Okay.
Get out of that one.
So I enjoyed it because of during those moments when it's all talk, it was romantic talk. It was back and forth romance between Seven and Raffi, and that was really amazingly sweet. It was definitely a dream, a delight for people who'd been more than casually shipping them in the show. So this gave them a chance to grow their relationship.
Yeah, I agree with you there. The built on the relationship what was only glimpsed at the end of season 1.
Right.
Yes, they were building on that, yeah, but apart from that, there was still a lot of talk.
There was, and a lot of it had to do with the other alien force. The two guys played that, and so that was interesting. But this, the thing that was really interesting and definitely deep about this was the fact that it all happened on this one planet. There wasn't a lot of space flight in this. And so in that respect, it's kind of a little, so it is a little bit like Deep Space Nine almost, because sometimes Deep Space Nine only happens on Deep Space Nine, and there's no space travel to Bajor to in through the wormhole, or it's just people coming into Deep Space Nine and changing things there. And so yeah, it was a bit like that, but it was also interesting to see how Seven was relating to not having a captain sort of over her life. She was pretty much pretty much needed to turn into a charming person, and she did. And that's why it works when she wakes up in the next series of Star Trek Picard and she's missing her Borg implants. It's just Annika, and so, or Annika or whatever. And I know that I had trouble remembering her name so bad when we were reviewing Star Trek Picard season 1. I couldn't remember, 709's human name. It's just not happening. But the interesting thing, the other interesting thing was how they were charged with the. Hang on a second. How they were charged with sort of interrupting this whole thing with the Romulan warlords was going to get to. And I mean that you got a lot of sense that they really were wanting that boy that was with them.
Yeah.
Elon or Elorn. Yeah.
Elnor.
Elnor. God, I'm so dyslexic. I got all those letters mixed up in my head. Elnor, not Elon. Oh, Elon of Troyes. No, I don't know. No, that's the original series. Oh my God. It's a bunch of cobwebs and gobbledygook upstairs most of the time. Anyway, yeah, and it was written by one of the writers in the show, and it was also and it was. I'm not entirely I'm not entirely sure if it was produced by. Anyway, yeah, the thing that was interesting also was that they continued to worry about the way that they were going to get back together on the ship eventually, and like that. And then there was some Fenris Rangers or something.
Fenris, yeah.
Yeah, and so they were a good baddie, a good foil, and led them to ask the tough questions. And let's see, it was still they didn't really talk much about the Borg cube or about the Borg. I mean, like all that first season was all about the cube, the artifact. It was like the artifact really was front and center in their minds. But now this one was all about Romulans, and so at least it gave them a chance to go do something else for a little while. But that it was noticeably missing in my head when it was any mention of what they'd just gone through with the artifact or the cube or whatever. Anyway, yeah, so I enjoyed it. It was a little long. I agree with Lee at that, but I yeah. So so what what were your favorite moments or other than the length? What's the thing that you're not so keen on?
Well, as I said, the length of it is one major gripe, of course. We'll get that out of the way first. It could have been with 40 minutes taken off. You know, just make it an hour long. I did like I can't remember the name, but the pilot of the ship, the alien was speaking in a different his own tongue.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the name of the pilot, but that was quite funny. You know, the Romulan Emperor, is it Rhinan?
Rudeness, or yeah.
Yeah, he was a bit. The characterization that was a bit wooden. It was
okay.
A bit wooden, the acting in that. Maybe that's the way the actor was told to play it. I don't know. Because it was, as I said, it's lacking action, adventure. This is what Star Trek is, isn't it? Action, adventure, storytelling, and you know, there was no threat for me in this. It was, I do agree. I do, the building on the relationship between the two main characters worked well. Great two actors there. I just think they were sort of let down by the writing, to be honest.
Yeah.
If they could have included maybe a couple more characters from Picard, it might have worked a little bit better.
Yeah, like some deborgified Borg or some synths or something from the first season.
Yeah, just maybe a couple of characters from the first season, or a little cameo from Picard himself.
Yeah.
He didn't have to be in all of it, but to have it Star Trek Picard and not be there.
And no Patrick Stewart, Sir Patrick. No, that was challenging.
Yeah. But the both the actresses did well with what they were given to work with. But it was just it dragged for me, and it was just missing that oomph. You know what I mean? It needed that spark, and it just wasn't there.
Yeah.
But it's a good listen if you haven't heard it. If you're a Star Trek fan and you listen to and watch everything and buy everything Star Trek, live and breathe Star Trek, give this a go and make your own mind up. But it's got its good points and it's got its bad points. And for me, its bad points overshadow the good points.
Yeah.
Being very diplomatic, aren't I?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's of course the crux of this is that they have so much charisma and so much energy on the screen whenever these two are on screen. It's great, but the aspect that without without the synths or the Borg or really, really anything like that that's challenging.
It was to say, as you mentioned earlier, Eleanor could have been in this, or what's her name, Doctor
Girardi.
Rari could have been in this.
Yeah.
Could have been included in the storyline, but
Yeah,
it would have been nice, and I think it would have worked a little bit better.
yeah, yeah. And I think that for a first audio adventure from this series, it's not bad.
Oh no,
So we've got to give it like this is like something from 1998 or 9 from Big Finish, way the heck back then. That's what this is like. Yes, it's got some holes in it. Yes, they've got to work it out so that they can get up to speed at telling stories this way. I've got a lot of. I'm being very diplomatic too. Yeah, they don't have. They haven't done a lot of these, so that's where the
maybe they should get in touch with Big Finish.
Yeah, they really do know how to tell a story.
Yeah, and maybe ask for advice, or would you like to produce some?
Yeah, except for Simon and Schuster are doing their own. They're trying to do their own audios now, and they used to just do the reader long audio books. So those long stories, but this cuts out all the description and just let your mind do it. So, and they did use good soundscape. So yeah, it wasn't there.
The soundscape.
Yeah, soundscape was good, and like there was the music that they used was fit right in. It wasn't. There was. Yeah, so I really I'd say that this has got a lot of that. This company, this audio producing company, has a long way to go, but they do need to pick Big Finish's brains, because Big Finish was producing all the Stargate, all of the Avengers, all of the Doctor Who, all the Blake Seven. I mean, like, they have some really strong properties there that have, like, I mean, for crying out loud, there's 17 years of Stargate, but then they added another 3 seasons to that in between. Yeah. So that's up to 20 years. Like, that's a nice long length of science fiction show, in my humble opinion, in my incredibly humble opinion. But I also needed the time to get for this story. I needed the time to get to know Raffi and Seven way better, because it's such a difference between the way her character was with Janeway, and this is her, pulling into like the orbit of Rios and Raffi, and she's a lot freer to do whatever she wants. She was even challenging for the Romulans. So that,
I mean, the supporting characters in this, you didn't get to know them because of all the other Star Trek characters we know. We've known them for over so many seasons or so many stories. These were just there was in this story, and we was meant to understand that Raffi and Seven and Nine have known these people for quite a while, but we haven't, and that comes across for me because I was cold to the characters.
Yeah. No character death was terrible. I agree. So, what would you give it out of 10?
Oh, I'm in a no man's land here, aren't I?
Very funny, you.
I will set my phases on a 7.5.
Of course, it's
Head.
something.
Room for improvement.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and I will give this. I'll give this 9 because it is early days. Like, it is a first attempt, and if they're going to do this, they can actually do all the old, all the way back into like all of the next gen, all of the Voyager, all of the all of the original series. They can do all of these with if they learn to get this this down, this creating stories in your mind type deal, they'll be able to they'll have a lot. There's a lot of stuff that they could do.
Yeah, I mean, all they have to do really is, I don't know, get the cogs in the right place to work properly.
Yeah.
I think the cogs in this story were just misaligned.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good description. Yeah.
And that's why they should listen to Big Finish.
Everybody should listen to Big
Finish. Those cogs are well oiled.
And we are owned and operated by Jason Hay Gallery and what's his
Nick Biggs doesn't own us.
What's his butt? The beard that isn't beard. Yeah. Yeah, we're not paid by them, but we are some of their biggest fans.
We adore them.
Yes, it's true. There's a lot of love. But as you can tell, I love Picard. This has become my Star Trek, and I'm quite happy with the way that the show is going. So yeah, Strange New Worlds is back to the episodal thing where they're going to do, one situation at a time over the course of 1 or 2 episodes, and just travel between. So that's back to an earlier state, an earlier formula, because Discovery and Picard and all of these little cartoons and stuff that they're doing, they tell longer tales, so they have to. That's a different sort of it leaves you a different feeling every week. It's a bit more Doctor Who-ish, the stuff that's coming out right now, that's just a long arc and stuff. But Doctor Who could get back to telling episodal things as well. And so I'll give this 9 Borg implants out of 10, or out of 7. And I'd like to thank you, Lee, for watching, for doing this podcast with me, and for listening to this with me. And I'd love to do some more of these other ones. And so, yeah, but there's still, we still so much to listen to. Anyway, and join us again for another podcast in a couple of weeks. And if you'd like to join us, go ahead and, message Lee, message me, whoever. It's usually just us. And we'd love to have you. And then we are excited to tell you that we probably, I think we're just starting into our 8th season ourselves of doing these wonderful podcasts, these Geeks Assemble podcasts. And, we've gone a lot of places. We've gone where no man has gone before a bunch of times.
True.
So, yeah. And the other thing is, please like and subscribe. And let me see where it is. And hit the little bell notifications. And that way you'll know that we turn out a podcast every so often. like once or twice a week, 3 times a week sometimes. Anyway, just as much as we can. And also, yeah, just stay in touch with your feelings, because the the situation in Ukraine was not even mentioned in the series 2, but we're still thinking about it over here. Support Ukraine. Okay, that's all for me. Yeah, live long and prosper, everyone. You can't do it.
Wait. Give up.